Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the Three Little Pigs. Now, you probably know this version of the story. Three Little Pigs. They all are happy. They play instruments. One's playing a piano, the flute, a violin. They're all out dancing and singing, and then you know about a big bad wolf comes and blows their houses down until they get to the last house which is made out of bricks, and then they do nana 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 to the wolf and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's not the true story, at least according to the wolf. Today's book is the true story of the Three Little Pigs, according to the big bad wolf. So let's see what he has to say about this. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Alexander T. Wolf, also known as the big bad wolf. He says the story you've heard is not true. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks like you would probably think you were big and bad too. You like cheeseburgers, right? But like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and simply a cup of sugar. That's all the story is all about. That's how it all started. A sneeze from having a cold and a cup of sugar. This is then the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold. I ran out of sugar. So here's Alexander T. Wolf, nice looking guy, making a birthday cake for his Meemaw. And he ran out of sugar. That happens. So, now what? So, I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in the right mind would build a house out of straw? So he's taken off from his place, walking down the trail, down the road, up here to the pig's house that's made out of straw. Probably not a very good house. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right on in. I didn't want to just walk in on someone else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So, here he's got it sticking his head through the doorway, ask if the pig's in, and then that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. This is a big bad wolf's, or I shouldn't call him big and bad, Alexander T. Wolf's big nose. He huffed and he snuffed. And I sneezed a great big sneeze. Achoo! There's his nose, all this air and Everything comes out of his nose, aimed at the house. It's a sneeze. He just had a sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of a pile of straw was the first little pig. Dead as a doornail. He had been home the entire time. So there's a little pig dead in the straw. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw. So I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there. That's what he's thinking about. Thinking about eating that. He's calling it just a big cheeseburger. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. So here's the second brother, second pig. His house made out of sticks, a little sturdier, not bad. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin chin." That wasn't very nice of him. So here's the pig. Here's his chin. That's all you can see, his chin. Then if you look real close, you can see a bunch of little hairs here. And he's got his razor, and he's just shaving the hairs on his chinny chin chin. He could have talked to the wolf a little nicer than that. I rang the bell on the stick house. Oops. Let's go on. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed. And I snuffed. And I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Boy. And you're not going to believe it, but the guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was a second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. So all he did is sneeze and his house fell down, crashed around him, and here's another dead pig. Now, you know how food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. I think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He built his house out of bricks. So this house is probably a pretty good house. So I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in?" And you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." So this is the pig's door. "Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar, and he wouldn't give me one little cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." So here's a little pig sticking his nose out the window. And he's sneezing, asking for some sugar. And he sneezed and he says, "And your little old granny can sit on a pin." Well, now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow. But when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. He's going crazy out here. Pig wasn't very nice to him. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door. And the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. The rest, as I say, is history. Here's a newspaper article. It says the big bad wolf, and you can read all about how the big bad wolf broke into the houses and harassed the pigs and ate them. Well, the news reporters found out about the 2 pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down. And they made me the big bad wolf. That's it. That's the real story. I was framed. They told a lie all about me. He was framed, but maybe you can loan me a cup of sugar. Well, that's, according to the big bad wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, that's the true story. Not the one that Disney tells you and in the little fairy tales. The real story was he just was trying to borrow a cup of sugar. And those pigs were kind of rotten. Of course, he ate them. What do you think? What's the true story? Well, you tell me. Okay. That's it for today. See you later.